My traumatized babies and mentally ill Barbies, the dawn is breaking on the stage that holds our final destiny. And so, my traumatized babies and mentally ill Barbies, the show must go on. And on today's episode, we have part 2 of our contact with what we know of as aliens and UFOs. And if you tuned in to the last read, I don't know, maybe you're seeing this one first. If you're seeing this one first, this is a 2-parter. Go back to the first part. We are talking with the beings who will look to you, depending on your level of perception and awareness, as the glowing whites. These beings are being representative by Christ as the ascended master, and they led the read with, "The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." This is about reclaiming lost knowledge, reclaiming lost history, reclaiming lost relationships between not only ourselves to other humans, but also ourselves to the non-human beings who were a part of our world at one point in time, in one dimension and timeline, whatever, that was ruptured due to horrific events and trauma. We are seeking unity with what we have lost, of course, on the highest dimension and timeline possible, and these beings are representing that for us today. So now we will continue with our read. And so I am now pulling from this other little kitty cat deck. On this Knight of Cups, we have the Queen of Cups. So like I'm saying, it's just like, this is a very, very open-hearted thing. And this is also like the Knight of Cups. We are going in a hierarchy with these beings. It's sort of like, lesser and smaller are such dismissive words, but there is a particular structure to how these beings tend to present themselves on the level of power structure. The more a being could potentially harm you, that is not a being that you are going to be interfacing with like directly, until you are at a point within your personal development that you can interact with those beings as peers. And also in a harmonious way, because nobody here is interested in any like combat, dark timeline, weird crap. Nobody here is interested in that. So this is like a higher up being, this Queen of Cups, also saying that like we want to make ourselves known as well. But of course we are not going to do that until y'all are okay with it, until there is consent judgment. Yeah, this is first contact. This is something about first contact, waiting for the time to be right, because we can see here the beings watching, right? The very, very powerful beings, maybe the ones that like none of us have ever seen before, watching and going, not time yet, not time yet. We don't want any disasters here in the material space, and we've already had some disasters involving contact protocol. And that wasn't with the most powerful of the beings, but it was somebody in the hierarchy here. So this Emperor, and this is this ultimate representative here, this Emperor is reiterating over and over and over again, we have left this behind. We have left this behind. We have no interest in repeating these mistakes. And also, it's just been one big like apology thing. And this is like extending the olive branch, this Ace of Wands. Do you want to try again? Are you open to trying again with us? Because we are continuously open to you, but it is also up to you. We have to let you take the lead on that, because when we attempted to take some of the lead, we screwed up big time. So we have to take a step back as well. All right, so this Queen of Cups here. We have the Seven of Coins, the World, and the Wheel of Fortune. This is about waiting, patiently waiting, monitoring for the shift. For the shift. They're not going to, like, there's something that we have to do. Like, when we're talking about, like, because that Judgment card, that is like first contact. You can have contact with the beings at any point where you're ready for that. We're talking about something happening in consensus reality. That is flat out not going to happen until some sort of significant shifts happen in our world, our consensus reality. Until then, these beings are monitoring, for the most part. Monitoring and open and available to people who want to participate in that actual work. Like, this is not BS, okay? It's like, this isn't something we're just, we're channeling positive messages from like the Pleiades, and I'm just hearing like a lot of, never mind, we'll get into that on a later video. Like, it's not about that. It's not being the headliner at the Consciousness Expo. It's about like doing hard work. All right, this Judgment, first contact. Yeah, they don't want, like, I've got this 5 of Wands here. That is not what we want. We do not want to cause chaos here. And there's something about like keeping themselves, because I've got the 5 of Wands, the Strength, and the 7 of Swords. There's something about them like holding themselves back with this Strength card. You can see it's like we have to hold ourselves back. Like, we have to hold ourselves back. We have to maintain secrecy, some level of secrecy here because of this conflict. Because of conflicts that have already happened, and also because we don't want, like, the first contact experience, they don't want it to be one of like this horrible, like, tense, like, shit, and like people like wanting to deploy like nuclear weapons and like that bad. Do not want. So there's some level of like secrecy here going on. Yes, the moon. They're still like, we cannot reveal ourselves fully because of this. And also there's something about, like, there's some sort of like energy on that where it's like, because they are having to keep secrets, it is making potentially their energy come off as shady or dark timeline-ish, because secrets are generally that way. But it's like, if it's coming across that way, they're saying, yes, they're acknowledging we are keeping this work a secret, not because they necessarily want to, but because for the broad consensus of humanity, it is necessary to not create violence. But it's like this catch-22, because it's like, well, if we're operating, because secrets tend to be like not good for the energy. It doesn't tend to be. It screws up the energy, and it does tend to lead to like dark timeline stuff. Especially they're acknowledging, so they are acknowledging like, yes, there is some work they're doing here. There is some sort of like agenda. So they're not concealing the fact that there is some sort of work or agenda that they are doing with or alongside or parallel to humanity, but that cannot be disseminated because of whatever that 5 of Wands is, that inclination in our energy. Yeah, it's like we can reveal this. Like, they're revealing, they're saying like, they're essentially trying to acknowledge that yes, there is some secrecy here, and yes, there is actual work going on. Like, there is a reason for the monitoring. There is apparently a reason for the abduction experience and things like that, because I've actually, in my personal, like, I don't like talking about that, because in my personal experience, I'm just like, we probably have this all wrong. There actually is no like a non-human being like agenda or work or anything like that. We're just confused because it's part of the alien abduction experience, but it's not like a literal thing. To me, they're acknowledging through this read that no, there is some sort of work. There is some sort of agenda or work being done here that is like intergenerational. There is. They're straight up. They're like, no, yeah, there is a thing. There is like a particular agenda that we are working on collectively, but that like I'm saying, they're not forcing it onto humanity, but they're just like, because of the contact that we have already had that went poorly, they essentially have to tell you some stuff. Like, this is why this is weird. We are in such an awkward time period with this. This is why. because they don't want, there are like certain people, right? There are certain people who they can tell, but the only reason why they couldn't tell, like expose it all at once, is because it would create violence at this point still. So it's not that like only the super special, super secret people are getting the information. The information is open to everyone who is at a certain point in their own development, who also is open to that. So you will get information individually that you will likely, like they'll tell you, it's like, here, this is the reason, like here, we'll give you this information, but it's not quite time to talk about this yet. Please don't talk about this because it's going to fuck stuff up. So that would be the only reason why that other information isn't coming out yet. Not because they don't want it to come out now, but because when they tried to do like everything all at once, it went poorly. That's why. So that's why we have this monitoring. That's why we kind of have some of this like clandestine stuff going on, which does tend to leave like a bad taste in people's mouths. It's just sort of an acknowledgement of that. Eight of Cups, whoever these leaders are that created some of this stuff on the dark timelines and bad experiences with people, they are deeply regretful of this. I feel it. Like these people are upset with people. These beings are upset about this. Because these beings also don't have, when I'm saying they're upset, it is true, but there's something about like human emotion, like they don't have that. A lot of these beings, like they understand it. They understand it, but they actually can't empathize with it. And so it's coming across to me as like we're crying, like we want to cry, we're sad about this. But if you encountered these beings face to face, you would not see crying. It's not that they don't have a similar experience, but it's not going to register in an anthropomorphized human way at all. And that's what makes a lot of this very complicated as well, is that we can't read each other. We have a communication barrier, a significant one. If you have communication barriers with other human beings, please can you imagine the communication barrier with a non-human being? So they're like this, whatever this was, this dark, like this bad stuff. It's sort of like, this is very olive branchy, but they're talking about the things that manifested. Oh, bro. Ooh, I just got the chills. Hold on. Let me like pull cards on this, because this is about to get like kind of fucked up. Because like these are particular. Yeah. Okay. So this Ten of Swords, all right. What this is about, because I know that, oh, this is so upsetting. But it's true, all right? This is what's coming across. There are certain people who will tell you that because you are on a specific frequency, that is why you are having like bad experiences with beings. It's your fault, like you're in a low vibrational place and stuff like that. That's why you had experiences like enforced pregnancies or non-consensual surgeries and things like that. It's because you were on a particular resonance or whatever. These beings are acknowledging that that is not true. That is false. This had nothing to do with your being low vibrational or like connect, like it has nothing to do with that. This is about the very, very upsetting like medical stuff. This is about enforced pregnancy. What we're talking about when we say like the genetic agenda, things like that. This is these beings acknowledging that the shit went on. That happened. That happened. It had nothing to do with like the people who had that experience were literally victimized by beings. They were victimized. And it has something to do with these beings in their own hubris not understanding that human beings weren't animals. And so, like I said, a lot of mistakes were made here in ignorance. And this is an acknowledgement that if you had that experience, yes, it happened to you. You were not responsible for that. These beings were responsible for that. And they're upset. And there's going to have to be some form of like retribution for this, because this is literally about pregnancies. That's what that's about. This is literally about like forced implantations and things like that. And what I want to tell you is that like, if you had that experience, at least like whatever that medical thing is going on with the forced implants and things like that, whatever that is, that has been completely shut down. If you feel as though you ever had like some form of implant, at least from these beings, the way you would know this is if you had an experience like in the past, like these would be much older people. Because that's usually where I run into this stuff. When I run into someone who's in their 60s, 70s, 80s, they'll be the ones talking about like the real horrific shit. They are not accessing those implants. None of that technology, nothing that was done at that time is currently in operation anymore. I'm speaking for this faction, okay, me and other people, right? But they're acknowledging that it did go on. And I would say that I can't comment about like if other beings or other factions are still like operating in that way, because we do still have, it's in a smaller percentage, we do still have people coming forward about like malevolent beings. So I wouldn't say it's gone from the beings entirely. That's usually never the case. But these beings are saying like, no, this shit happened. This shit happened. There were certain like directives given upon humanity that involved that shit. And what they're saying, like with this like Queen of Pentacles, it's like it's the pregnancy stuff in specific that is being like, they're trying to make some sort of atonement for this with this Queen of Cups, Page of Cups, King of Wands. Like this is like responsible people. This is all curse, emperor. Like this is just like, this is a mass acknowledgement of that trauma. And also trying to get rid of the idea that it was somehow in any way your fault. It was not. These beings are saying directly, it was their fault. They did it. Nothing to do with you or your behavior or anything like that. So, God. All right. So now what? Because we need our concluding statement here. And I just feel like we gave so much, like I feel like that deserves that. I just feel like we haven't given enough space for that in the read. And there's likely no amount of space that I can give. Because it's the same, how much space do you give for the genocide of the First Nations? There's no amount of space. There is no amount of even acknowledging the trauma. What's done is done. They can only hope for some, like, this is genuine, a genuine atonement or whatever, but they cannot really expect forgiveness for that because it's done. It happened. There is no making up for it. There is only the acknowledgement, and are you willing to try again? And that's all that anybody can hope for when we're talking about something like a genocide, like chattel slavery, and like whatever this fucking weird shit was with these beings. So like I said, this is not about like bunny, happy kitty, rainbow pony, this work. Are you ready to hold space for the people who went through that trauma with these beings? Because it's going to be asked. All right. This is a yes. All right, I'm getting something from here. All right, that's striking me as like a ship. Yeah, this is something about contact with the moon. Yeah. This is something about contact, because this was striking me as a ship. And I have the moon, the Knight of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. This is something about them performing some sort of contact. And I don't get it as mass contact. I get this as individual contact. With that moon, yeah, there's grief here. I don't know, we might just be getting repeated messages for things done in the dark. Because it is typically a nighttime experience. Oh, this is about reparations. There's some sort of material reparations that want to be made here for like, this is literally like, if you have contracted mesothelioma from blah, 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 call this number for the class action lawsuit. I'm dead ass serious. Oh my God. There is some sort of literal, and this isn't just like an apology from the beings. There is literally some sort of like material thing. There is like, no. The freaking beings want to make reparations, like in a material way. Yeah, this is something about fight. Oh my God, what is that? Well, hold on, let me, all right, I know what this is, the things that were done in the dark. All right, what is, I want to know what that is because I'm confused about like the Five of Swords, Eight of Wands. This Eight of Wands, Five of Swords is kind of like their acknowledgement of the fact that like they understand why you would want to or potentially would take like hostile action to, like they're saying we know, like they're validating, like they're like, we're validating your hostile feelings towards us. We understand why you feel this way. We understand why you would want to attack or defeat us. And they're accepting that, by the way. They're not like, if you do not want to work with these beings or whatever, you don't want, if you're not ready for that, if you don't want to do it, that is, they completely, like, they get it. They get it. But they would, like, if you ever worked through that, they are still willing. Like, this offer is never closed, is what I'm saying. If you ever come to a place where you are not feeling very warlike upon these beings, they are still open to giving you whatever these reparations are. And at least from this particular faction, there are like the night terrors, the stuff like that, this abduction in the night. It's like, no, this like, no. Like, it can't go on anymore, especially not on the Mega Happy timeline. It just can't. But it's saying, like, we know, like, this is like the angry mob coming for them. They're like willing to withstand that, is what I'm saying. They're willing to sit in that and acknowledge that it's valid. All right, now these reparations. What is this? How would it be able to be accessed? This would be accessed through, like, you have to go, like, especially if you're someone who has been very harmed by these beings, they are not expecting you to make contact with them directly. And no contact is going to be enforced on you because they're aware that there might just be some sort of permanent barrier there for people who have had this direct experience with them. This is a similar thing to how there are just some people of color, some Black people, who for their own mental health, safety, and energy, just don't fuck with white people. It's valid. It's valid. And this is kind of what that is. Based on what went in the past, there are some people who are simply not going to fuck with the beings. And it's valid. It's not anything that they need to change. However, if you would like your material reparations, you're going to have to go through someone like me. Like I said, there are many people. Like, I am not the exclusive arbiter of the funds, okay? Because I don't even know how that works or how it's going to work. But you would be going to someone who feels that they are fine with making contact with these beings and sort of like arbitrating this. So you can go through a representative, and there will be multiple representatives, okay? You don't have to come through me. Fuck, I don't even know that I want to release this message. Why do I got, no, hey, wait a minute, you know, hold on, wait a second. I don't want to be in charge of that. All right, how do we get these reparations? Like, so you go through, is there any sort of like process here? It's some sort of messaging. It's sort of like further, it's like call the number and the guide will direct you. It's something like that. Did you deal with an enforced pregnancy? Did you deal with cattle mutilation? Did we in fact kill your dog? Please supply the correct documentation and we will, of course, and the correct documentation, that is going to be written on your DNA. Like, it will be in the energy. Someone else who is an experiencer will know. If you, like, you're not going to be able to scam people, okay? Let's see here. Yeah, there's something in materiality. Like, this is a material thing. It's not just like, oh, that we have like a gift for you on the astral plane. It's like, no, this is like a material thing. Like, it is, like they're saying, it is energetic. Like, it's going to come through energetically, but it will manifest materially. So these aren't like garbage reparations here because something real was done to you. You need to have something real in return. But like I said, this is like guarded. Like, so anyone who like attempts to like do weird energy on this, like scam, like it's not going to be allowed. Like, this is like a guarded thing. Oh, and I'm not going to, because I'm trying to see like, what is that material thing? It's going to look differently. Like they're saying, it isn't like the Page of Pentacles. It is something in materiality that will be given, but it's going to look differently depending on the person. Like, the energy will come through, I guess, people like me. But how that, like, once you receive that energetically, if you are consenting to it, obviously, it's going to manifest for you in a different way. So, like, it might be, like, I don't know, maybe you get your cows back. Like, it's going to be something like that, but it is something that is going to provide a real material benefit to you if you decide that you wish to receive it, if you're open to that. Now, I'm going to pull something for me here because I'm not comfortable with what I just said. Because in releasing the video, I am then making a statement about some sort of liaising that I and other people could potentially do that makes me quite nervous to say something like that. This whole thing makes me very, very nervous because it's just like with being like, I'm just always so concerned about like playing into some sort of weird being fuck shit is what I'm telling you. So it's just sort of like, I am now pulling a message like for myself about what like I like right now. It just seems like nobody need to be contacting me. All right, don't like no. I'm not ready for that, but I'm saying there will probably come a time when I will be ready. So I'm pulling a message for myself that I will make public, like about that in general. Oh, what is that? Well, that's what I think. Yeah. This is just because I think what I think. Yes, what I think from whatever I'm talking about right now. This authority. Like, I don't trust, like, I think that I am potentially contributing to some sort of disaster. This is supposed to, like, reassure me, like, no, this message that you're giving, what you're telling people is not designed to cause harm. But I'm just like, I don't like, especially with the non-human being stuff. And like, because there's so many scams about like removing people's like implants and shit like that. And that's another reason why they're saying those implants are no longer active, at least from this community, because that scam is going on. So anyone claiming to be removing implants, those implants have already been deactivated. This is something about messages. The Hermit, the Star. This is something about healing messages that are coming out. This Tower. Like there's telling me I'm worried about nothing. I don't feel like I'm worried about nothing. It's like, y'all aren't the ones though. Y'all aren't the ones that are gonna have to like, because my fear is, now that I've said that, right? And let's say somebody came to me about their like reparations or whatever. I don't know how that works. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you something energetically that's going to manifest for you materially. There's no there's no contract on that. Like I can't like guarantee that. I'm talking, oh my God. So that's why, okay? That's why I'm feeling very like, I'm being honest about the message, but also I can't just tell people, oh yeah, 100%, you're going to be compensated with like money or whatever. This is very nebulous. This is something right now about giving messages. What about the reparation stuff though? I don't really understand, y'all. Well, it's not that I don't understand. What I'm trying to ask is like my own. There's something about this, okay, because I'm just getting the repeating messages is that for this atonement to be made, to hopefully shift out of this like more atrocious part of our history with these beings, there is something about material being disseminated. With this 10 of coins, 2 of coins, there's something about a redistribution of something material. But what I'm trying to negotiate is how that would happen, like, practically, because what you're talking, like, to me, if, like, you're contacting me or another specific person, like, that would have to be some form of compensated work, because, like, that's a lot of people. But it also seems wrong to charge someone for their own fucking reparations, right? That's what I'm talking about. And there was some message under there is like, no, that work should not be charged for. But at the same time, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so I don't know how that's going to work, because if one person, right, starts getting like inundated with, like, if it's going to come through the form of like personal readings or personal messages or something like that, it's sort of like one person can't handle, first of all, yeah, one person can't handle that by themselves, which is why multiple people are going to be talking about this. But also, even if it is multiple people talking about it, you're talking about them dedicating a significant portion of their lives to unpaid labor. And under capitalism, that's what I'm talking about here. There's got to be some form also of compensating the people doing that labor that does not pertain to charging the people who are receiving the reparations. It's something like that. So that probably does not need to come out in this read, because now I'm getting like, it's like a like, this is the message that needs to come out. This is the message that will now be like repeated. So we are not at the point yet where likely you're going to be contacting people for reparations. Is that right? Okay, I'm right. We're not at that point yet. The message that is broadly going out now is that will be happening. That is the plan. It will be happening. And more people likely need to get vocal about that if they have also been receiving that message, okay? So let's get some Jesus on this. And then we will get out of here. Whew. Good gosh, what a message. A positive one, but still a tough one to hear. Three messages from Jesus. Whoever believes has eternal life. If you are willing to go out on a limb here, they are willing to go out on the limb again and be much more cautious this time. Also, it is more blessed to give than to receive. That is about the reparations. But we believe. This is essentially, we want to believe. We want to believe that we can have this sort of relationship that everybody wants. We want to believe. That's been a very human message. The human being saying, we want to believe. It's the same message for them as well. They want to believe too. And if we both want to believe the same thing, likely the way is possible. All things are possible through Christ and God. Okay? So what else is Jesus talking about today? Oh. Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. Big lesson for the beings. Human beings, yes, but also the non-human beings. It is likely, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get real unhinged with you here. It is likely that if we are talking about literal Jesus Christ, literal Jesus, or whoever, like, it was likely obviously multiple people, and going through history that you're talking about when you're talking about a literal person called Christ, because that narrative repeats. So it is not one person. But whoever those literal people were, actual in the flesh people or in the flesh non-human beings, if we're talking about certain periods of history, these ascended masters teaching a similar message, those ascended masters in some way have done some sort of work with these beings. In that way, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. That is part of the work of the ascended masters. And then, nothing shall by any means hurt you. This is we've learned this lesson. Do unto others whatever you would like them to do to you. We've learned that lesson. We intend no harm. going forward. Nothing that we do shall by any means hurt you. That's the promise. And then what we have here is, whatever you ask in my name, that I will do. This is some sort of like submission phase for these beings. We're the ones who fucked up. Whatever you want us to do, that's what we'll do. You're making the calls here because we're the ones who screwed it up. And so, my traumatized babies and mentally ill Barbies, I am your GM, your eternal game master for this, the game of life. I am also, of course, the greatest magician of the age and perhaps the greatest magician of all time. And together, you and I will perform the greatest magic trick of all time. We will reverse the polarities of the world. We will reverse the polarity of the world, perhaps the whole dang multiverse, okay? We will make America great for once. Fly this boat to the moon somehow. Shift the world onto the mega happy timeline, because we are, my traumatized babies and mentally ill Barbies, crawling on the planet's face, some insects called the human race, lost in time and lost in space. End meaning.